Hello, I'm Sarah Pryor, and I'm the Senior Communications Manager for Exams Officers at Cambridge International. And I'm joined by Rachel Bateman, who is our Senior Assessment Advisor. Hi, Rachel, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Sarah.
So in this video, we will talk about how we mark candidates' portfolios of evidence. In countries and regions of countries where exams cannot take place, we ask schools to submit a portfolio of evidence for each candidate, and the portfolio is marked by Cambridge International examiners. We're here to talk to you about how our examiners mark portfolios of evidence. To do this, they use a holistic approach. So, Rachel, can you explain what we mean by holistic marking?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Absolutely. So portfolios of evidence are marked holistically, and this means that examiners make a single judgment about each piece of evidence as a whole. They make their judgments by referring to exemplar materials. This is different from marking exams. Here, examiners mark question by question. The decisions they make on the mark to award for each question are based on a mark scheme. Exemplar materials exist for each Cambridge International syllabus. Each set of exemplar materials gives examples of candidates' work which help our examiners mark different types of evidence within a portfolio of evidence. Exemplars can be past exam papers or coursework, for example. We provide all our examiners with a set of exemplar materials, which show the performance level expected at regular points throughout the mark range. They compare each piece of evidence from a candidate's portfolio to the exemplar materials. We only share exemplar materials with examiners to protect candidates' identity. The examiner selects the exemplar closest in overall quality to the candidate's piece of evidence. The examiner then considers which is better, the piece of evidence or the exemplar.
Great, thanks, Rachel, and thanks for explaining exemplars. So how do examiners actually use them to mark the portfolios of evidence?
Thanks, Sarah. If a piece of evidence and the exemplar are similar in quality overall, then the evidence is given the same number of marks as the exemplar. If the piece of evidence is slightly better, it's given 1 or perhaps 2 extra marks. If it's slightly weaker, it's given 1 or 2 fewer marks. If the examiner decides that the quality of the evidence is considerably different in overall quality from the exemplar, they look again at the full set of exemplar material and select one that is closer to the quality of the piece of evidence. Our examiners repeat this holistic marking process for each piece of evidence in the portfolio. These holistic judgments about the quality of a candidate's work need to be done carefully. And this is where our examiner training is very important, as it makes sure that all examiners are looking for the same indicators when they judge the overall quality of a piece of evidence.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And can we explain anything further about why the rank order for portfolio of evidence might be slightly different from exams marked using a mark scheme?
Yes. The indicators that examiners look for when they judge overall quality may be given slightly different weights compared to when an exam paper is marked. This is one of the reasons why portfolio of evidence marking can place candidates' work in a slightly different rank order from marking exams using a mark scheme. In maths exams, for example, which are marked according to a mark scheme, candidates are awarded marks for accurately completing calculations. The marks credit both the correct final answer and they're working out to complete the calculation. In portfolio of evidence marking, examiners don't have a mark scheme, and each candidate's evidence can be different. This means that consideration of how the candidate has shown how they have reached their answer is given more weight in portfolio of evidence marking. Both marking approaches credit the candidate's mathematical ability, but the two elements of the answer are weighted differently. So the rank order of candidates may be slightly different between exam marking and portfolio of evidence marking.
Great. Thanks so much for clarifying that, Rachel. And could you tell us any more about the actual annotations on portfolios of evidence?
Of course. So in general, portfolios of evidence have fewer annotations than exam scripts, because as we've already talked about, the portfolios are marked holistically using exemplars rather than a mark scheme. When we mark exams using a mark scheme, examiners annotate each answer to show where it does or does not meet the criteria in the mark scheme, or where it does or does not score marks. When marking holistically, the examiner needs to show which of the exemplars matches the evidence most closely. This may be a reference code for an exemplar, which is an annotation that shows how the examiner made their decision. For example, using a traffic light system of green, amber, and red to show the quality of the evidence. These are shown on the portfolio as G for green, A for amber, R for red. For both exams and portfolios of evidence, annotations are used by our senior examiners if they review the marking later at different stages of the marking process. Annotations help senior examiners to understand the marks awarded and are not intended to be used by our schools.
That's great. Thanks for explaining that, Rachel. And can we talk any more about these different stages of the marking process? So, are they the same for a portfolio of evidence as they are for an exam script?
Yes, a portfolio of evidence will go through the same marking stages as an exam script. And these reviews of marking are an important part of our quality control processes. There are up to 4 marking stages for portfolios of evidence. Every portfolio goes through the original marking stage, and some may also go through one or more of the other 3 stages. These are examiner monitoring, grade review, and inquiry about results. Examiner monitoring is when an examiner's original marking is checked by a senior examiner during the marking period. A grade review happens after grading is complete and before results release. A candidate's work is remarked where we can see they are close to a grade threshold at syllabus level, and the grade is at risk for at least one other reason. Lastly, an inquiry about results is a review of the original marking of a portfolio of evidence after the release of provisional results.
Great. Thanks for explaining that, Rachel. And as you can see on screen now, if you request an inquiry about results service with a copy of script, these stages are shown on the candidate marks report. Each stage of the marking and monitoring process is shown in different coloured annotations or comments on the portfolio, and these are red, brown, blue, or purple. There is more information about each of these marking stages and about examiner tolerance in our guide to understanding the marks on scripts and portfolios of evidence, which is available on our website. And the web address is www.cambridgeinternational.org/EAR. So, Rachel, one final question. Why is the final mark awarded to the portfolio of evidence not always the same as the total mark for the 3 pieces of evidence?
In the same way as for exams, the total of the 3 marks for the candidate's 3 pieces of evidence may not be the final mark awarded for the portfolio. For portfolio of evidence, one common reason is examiner scaling. We scale an examiner's marks if we find that they have consistently been slightly generous or slightly severe compared with the agreed marking standard set out by our principal examiner. This scaling brings the marks the examiner awarded into line with the agreed standard. The scaling is applied to the total mark for the portfolio of evidence, not to the individual marks for the pieces of evidence. We explain other reasons why the 3 marks awarded for the portfolio of evidence may not add up to the final mark in more detail in our guidance document, Understanding Marks on Scripts and Portfolios of Evidence.
That's great. Thanks so much, Rachel. And thank you for watching this video. We really hope that you have found it useful. For more information about how to understand the marks on candidates' portfolios of evidence, please do see the guidance document on our website, which is called Understanding Marks on Scripts and Portfolios of Evidence. And you should be able to see the web address on your screen now. Thank you.